Meta wants to revolutionize the internet with the Metaverse. It's extremely unprofitable, but the company is pouring even more money into it. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Have you ever wanted to be a lord? I certainly have. And now I am, thanks to our sponsor, Established Title. That's right, I'm officially Lord Chris Chappell. And you can be a lord or lady too. I'll explain how at the end. So Facebook is a staple of the social media world. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg boasts having almost 3 billion monthly users on Facebook alone. But Facebook faces fierce competition from other social media apps, especially TikTok. Like many staples, Facebook has been around a while. It's established, but it's also old news. Sometimes literally, since the most active person on your Facebook feed is probably your grandma. It's also because grandma has 4 different Facebook accounts and she keeps losing her password and creating new ones. Facebook doesn't really stand out the way TikTok does. In a modern market glutted with social media sites, Facebook needs a facelift. And Mark Zuckerberg believes he's got the answer. The way to stay relevant is to radically transform the internet. So he's got his focus set on the Metaverse. It's a concept for an immersive virtual world where users can interact with each other and with virtual objects. According to Zuckerberg, it's the next chapter for the internet.
I believe the Metaverse is the next chapter for the internet. In our DNA, we are a company that builds technology to connect people. And the Metaverse is the next frontier. From now on, we're going to be Metaverse first, not Facebook first.
Okay, so Facebook isn't getting a facelift. It's becoming Zuckerberg's redheaded stepchild. And when Zuckerberg said his company's going to be Metaverse first, he really meant it. Former employees say the Metaverse is the only thing Mark Zuckerberg wants to talk about. He's so serious about the Metaverse that he allegedly pushed for Meta employees to call each other Metamates. That would be like me making everyone at America Uncovered call each other Uncoverers. Hey, I like that. What's that, Uncoverer, Shelley? You can't quit in the middle of an episode. Meta already burned $15 billion building the Metaverse. And this is less than half of the $36 billion Meta has spent on its Metaverse and VR businesses since 2019. If Zuckerberg has anything to say about it, the costs are only going to keep going up. By the billions, Zuckerberg says $10 billion in investments each year is needed for the Metaverse. That's a lot of dough. To give you a comparison, Apple spent a little less than $3.5 billion developing the iPhone from 2002 to 2007. And it might be a while before Meta sees any returns on those investments. Zuckerberg has said he expects the Metaverse investments to take about a decade to bear fruit. So what does Meta have to show for all those billions spent? Extremely mediocre 90s graphics, avatars that don't even have legs, and worlds that are empty and sad. According to Meta's internal documents, the company isn't reaching even half its initial goal of 500,000 monthly active users in Horizon Worlds, Meta's VR world creation game. In fact, most visitors don't even return to the app after the first month. Those who do stick around are scarce. Only 9% of worlds built by creators are ever visited by at least 50 people. Most are never visited at all. It's so bad that Meta has to force employees to use it. How many video games out there pay you to play them? Internal memos show that Meta's Metaverse vice president is concerned, asking why employees don't love the project they've built so much that they use it all the time. I guess when you're being paid by Mark Zuckerberg to build his dream, making something that you love is not exactly a priority. The Metaverse vice president wrote a follow-up memo with a plan to hold managers accountable for having their teams use Horizon at least once a week, because forcing people to use it is definitely a sign that it's widely loved. It certainly isn't loved by Meta's shareholders, but that won't stop Zuckerberg. More after the break. Welcome back. Zuckerberg has been spending tens of billions of dollars on the metaverse, but no one is having fun in Meta's VR projects. Not even the founder of Oculus VR. Meta admits the technology still needs development, but Zuckerberg insists on continuing metaverse projects and throwing more money at it. Zuckerberg's unrelenting urge to spend money on the metaverse is reportedly terrifying, even by Silicon Valley standards. After all, for Meta, there are also other expenses that need to be paid. Meta forecasts that its full year 2023 total expenses would be $96 billion to $101 billion, significantly higher than a revised estimate for 2022 total expenses of $85 billion to $87 billion. This includes heavy investments into computing power and artificial intelligence needed to further develop Facebook Reels, as well as targeted ads with less data. Critics say now isn't the time for Meta to be so invested in the metaverse, especially as it became the S&P 500's worst performer of 2022, with stock losses at nearly 75% since last year. They say Zuckerberg needs to focus on Meta's core social media business to get back on track, because who knew improving Facebook is where the money is, before the only person using it is your grandma. But it seems Zuckerberg continues to be tone deaf to these concerns. Unfortunately, there isn't much shareholders can do to curb Zuckerberg's spending. Even though Zuckerberg only owns 13% of Meta shares, he controls 54% of the company's voting class shares, which means he can do pretty much whatever he wants. But it seems that he is taking advice from some shareholders by laying off 11,000 employees. It's not just layoffs. Zuckerberg is also turning up the heat at Meta so employees will quit. And what better way to show you can make it at Meta than by spending thousands of hours in the metaverse? So is Zuckerberg right to continue focusing on the metaverse? It's not as though metaverses are unpopular in general. Virtual social spaces like Roblox, VR Chat, Rec Room, and Second Life already have loyal, active, creative user bases. So it isn't that the idea of a metaverse is bad, it's just that Meta's metaverse sucks. One problem is that Meta has no real sense of direction for the metaverse, and this is frustrating employees. One Meta employee told Business Insider that it's basically fomenting disorganization and anxiety. People don't really seem to know what to deliver or what to work on because there is no coherent strategy. If Horizon Worlds is a clue, it sounds like Zuckerberg wants at least some of it to be user-designed. But you have to get users first for that to work. Another problem is that Meta is assuming that people want to hang out inside versions of real-life stores and even work in virtual offices.
The idea is like you go in wherever you are, you can have your perfect setup, you can have all your different monitors. People can stop in and collaborate quickly, but it's really great for kind of focused work.
Talk about no real sense of direction. Is this a game, a social space, or a virtual office? The answer is all of the above. Except, some say, minus a soul. Zuckerberg thinks immersion in the metaverse will help people, and so he's pushing everyone to like virtual reality. But it's the worst possible time to do so, given that people are already tired of staying indoors after lockdowns. Another Zoom meeting? Only it's fully virtual? Yeah, that sounds awesome. Even if there wasn't a pandemic, who wants to get dizzy from wearing VR headsets for work? Corporate meetings are bad enough without the motion sickness. And those aren't the only issues. One of the big problems with the corporate-backed metaverse is that the experience is often a top-down one, where brands are designing the experience. Successful metaverse experiences, meanwhile, are often community-driven, ground-up, and spontaneous. Spontaneous being the key word here, because there's nothing spontaneous about the pressure Zuckerberg is putting behind this, which means it simultaneously lacks direction and isn't spontaneous or grassroots enough. It's still too early to tell what the metaverse could offer since the technology for it is still in development. But despite Meta's poor performance, many still see a lot of potential in the metaverse, especially in enterprise. Unfortunately, not the Starship kind. According to the consulting firm McKinsey, the metaverse has the potential to generate up to $5 trillion in value by 2030. It's just too big for companies to ignore. But there's more to it than just entertainment, retail, and remote work. China sees the metaverse as a tool for industrial development and political security, which is terrifying. If you want to learn more about that, check out our China Uncensored episode on it. The link is below. But as scary as a Chinaverse is, I can't help but feel bad for the miserable Meta employees dealing with their own metaverse. They're forced to look into the soulless eyes of a robot returning to its natural habitat all the time. Oh, and they're also forced to spend time in the metaverse. And this episode is sponsored by Established Titles. Thanks to this certificate, I'm now officially Lord Chris Chappell. And you can be too. Not the Chris Chappell part, the Lord part. Or you can be a lady, if that's your thing. It's based on an old Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lords or ladies, or laird if you're Scottish. But when you buy a title pack using the link below, you'll get at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, plus an official certificate with a crest. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. Because for every purchase, Established Titles will plant at least 1 tree through working with a charity like One Tree Planted or Trees for the Future. So you can be a lord and help the environment, and then lord over it. And when you do become a lord or lady, you could even officially include that title on your credit card or airplane ticket, etc. I'm not saying it'll necessarily give you special privileges, but you can legitimately do it. I mean, why not include your new title on your dating profile and see what happens? The point is, being a lord or lady is strictly for fun, but it could be a lot of fun. And if you're among the first 200 people to get your established title using my link below, you'll be pretty much next to my plot, which means we can build our own small kingdom together in Scotland. Now that's fun. So visit establishedtitles.com/uncovered and get your official title today. And if you buy it on Black Friday or earlier, you'll get 10% off. It makes a great last-minute gift for your parents, friends, or, let's be honest, yourself. The link is below. I'm Lord Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.